Okay, so when you beat Final Fantasy 1, we're treated to an ending that basically talks about how evil in a time loop was basically broken, and then you basically were the bearer of the light, the true heroes. But some people have often asked, like, the way Final Fantasy 1 worked, how exactly did the time loop work to begin with, the one that Garland created, between the time the game takes place in the present, all the, like, 2,000 years before the time in the Chaos Shrine? And I think I figured it out. So, the way the time barrier worked was that Garland needed the four fiends to send him back into the future, or send him forward as well, so that way he could send them and vice versa. And so that way, if he died, he could return back there. So what ends up happening is, here's what's really interesting. So you defeat Garland in the present, and then but you don't truly kill him, and so he somehow survives miraculously, and he's able to time back, use the power of the four fiends to go back 2,000 years to the point where they'll send him back, but at the cost of his own memories and all that. It seems like. So what ends up happening is you defeat the four fiends at somewhere in the present, and then you go back 2,000 years and fight him again. And it really got me thinking, if Garland is dead, or at least the evil version of him is sort of dead, and Garland can't send them back into the future in the 2,000 years you fight them in the in the Chaos Shrine in the past, then they can't exist anymore because you've already killed them in the past, at least. So what's really interesting is if you fight Garland a second time as Chaos, but it ends in such a way that you can purify him. If we are to believe that he's still alive, he would have probably have been the original, like his old self again. Either that or he's dead and he's out of the timeline to begin with. But I want to believe that what they did was they didn't really kill him, but they purified his soul and he went back to his original timeline, even though you technically killed the corrupt version of him. And so, with time traveling being the way it is, it's like they destroyed the evil reincarnated versions of the fiends, but they saved the people that were actually responsible for all the deaths and all that, years later. So they erased them from history, basically. And so that kind of makes sense because, if Garland wasn't able to send the fiends back and the fiends weren't able to send him back, once they got back from the timeline, then the time loop was broken. And not only that, but that's very possible that might be where the four fiends may have got their, where Garland may have got the corruption. The four fiends may have very well have been the, the original embodiment of evil from what ruled over the past in the past games, like before the 2,000 years hit and all that. Because you think about it. The land was under chaos for quite some time, and it was because of the four fiends being, an ominous force. But they probably needed a leader at the time. So that's where they basically came from. It was, they could have ruled over the world, over that version of the world in the year 2000 before, the 2,000 years before, the present of Final Fantasy 1. And that very well could explain not just how the time loop worked, but where the villains and the evil came from before all that.